Hey, welcome back to the channel and another revisit. Today's episode from last February is the Snow-pocalypse. Now, what's crazy about that is that it's winter again. It's December 27th, 2021, and it was 60 today. And on Christmas, it was 70. And so, if you get anything from watching this episode, just remember that you can never prepare for the weather, even if you try. So without further ado, please enjoy Snow-pocalypse Now. Tonight, on a very special episode of Don't Knock Out That Wall, we talk about what it's like to be stuck inside during the winter and what steps you need to do to winterize your house. I figured that would be an apt thing to talk about. Some of the things that have come up over the past couple of days, some of the things that we've had to do.
Yeah, now that we in Arkansas have finally had to deal with snow and days of sub-freezing temperatures, we'll tell you how to prepare for that.
Yeah. Got to DIY. Oh, baby, you know why. Well, if you got the time, I'm gonna give it a try. But before you start, we got advice for you all. If you got to hammer, then you got to saw. Baby, please, don't look out that wall. Don't look out that wall. Please do not look out that wall. Really bad idea. I can't remember the last time it's been this cold. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, to answer your question, we haven't really left. Well, we haven't been able to leave the house, but we've been outside. Both of us went out today to play in the snow and do a couple of things. I was out the day before yesterday, making sure that our that some steps were taken to make sure that pipes didn't freeze. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's probably like the biggest thing to prepare for a hardcore winter is your pipes. Make sure they don't freeze and bust.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that happen multiple times, and it's just horrible. It's floods the house and does so much damage. And a lot of times I've seen it are vacant houses, so
Yeah.
it's they don't really, you don't really mess with vacant houses. Like the owner doesn't think, oh, I need to go back to that house and winterize it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't turn out well most of the time.
I was a little concerned. Fortunately, all of our piping is in the crawl space.
Yep.
It's down below, so it's better than some of the footage that I've seen from places like in Texas. Texas is a nightmare right now, and I saw some footage of some people's ceilings falling in their garage and everywhere else in their entire house. It's just
Yeah. One of the biggest things I remember, it's been a few years, and I don't remember what like, how Facebook like reminds you of things that happened years ago.
yeah.
Well, I did a Facebook post. It was probably 3-4+ years ago that it was 17 degrees on my way to work, and I was like, I'm ready for these two uh, to be in different orders. Right?
just, just switch them.
I'm ready for that 71-degree weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, working in real estate, one of the worst things that I saw was a vacant house and had the hot water heater. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, quit. Sorry, my dog is going crazy on. Can you hear a rustling in the background?
Kind of. It's very faint.
Okay, very faint. That's good. It's this puppy, and she's going crazy with a towel. Anyway.
Yeah.
So if you hear random things in the background, it's a puppy.
Okay.
But yeah, back to the story. It was so the hot water heater was in the attic, which is fairly common, right? And those pipes busted, and the ceiling and the whole kitchen, like they had to completely gut the kitchen and redo the floors. It was a house that was on the market. They had to take it off the market to do all this crazy stuff to it, and
Yeah.
it was pretty bad. I'm sure that happens quite a bit. And the worst part, like, you don't know it when it's frozen. You're just like, okay, maybe I have no water, or water's not getting to a certain spot or something like that, and you don't realize it until it thaws out. And by that time, the pipe is busted and there's water everywhere.
Man.
Yeah, it's rough. So it's a good time to do this.
Yeah. For me, I was slightly concerned, but I think we've done all that we can to preserve our pipes. But recently, so I think we talked about insulation
Mm-hmm.
on one of our previous episodes, and how I just recently got underneath the house and replaced a bunch of insulation that had been damaged from water and had been pulled down from cats, probably stray cats hanging out underneath my house.
Yeah.
So I did all that. When I was there, I noticed that a lot of my pipes, in fact, most of them, they don't have anything on them,
Mm-hmm.
but they're pretty close to the what do you call them?
Like the subfloor.
Yes, they're.
Yeah.
So I still want to put some extra insulation around them, but at the moment they don't.
Yeah.
And so I was a little concerned, but so far everything's been great. Of course, we've had every faucet on, pretty much.
Have you had your hot water faucets on?
Yeah.
This is something that I've always heard drip your faucets in the wintertime when it gets like this cold,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never heard anyone say do the hot water side, because the pipes from your hot water heater coming through need to be circulating water as well. And I mean, it's kind of one of those things where running water, it takes a minute, it takes more for it to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to drip them.
That's actually, it's funny that you say that, because I have heard that, but only like maybe yesterday is when I heard somebody say, if you have two knobs, turn on the hot side too. And so I've been doing that.
Yeah.
It just didn't cross my mind, but now that I think about it, they're two different pipes underneath the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you've got your pipe coming in from the street or whatever to feed that hot water heater just regular water, and then once it's hot, then it feeds the rest of your house. So you've got another pipe coming out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're not circulating it, those pipes just are stagnant and they can bust like that. Yeah, that was one of those things. Like, that's kind of weird that it hasn't been a big thing before now.
Right.
For us anyway. I'm sure everybody up north is like, y'all are stupid. Why don't you? Of course. We do this every winter.
That's actually, my first thought, and it was a tragedy and it was terrible to see. But when I first saw the images of that pileup in Dallas, my first thought was, well, of course they weren't prepared, because it never gets that way in Dallas.
It never does. Yeah. They don't know how to drive on ice because they don't get ice.
Yeah.
I mean, there are those signs that say the bridges freeze prior to the street, right? They're the first to go. But if you're in a place where that never happens, you don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I talked to a dude, a guy that works Axiom. He lives in Houston, and I was hitting him up today for something else, and I was like, "So how's it going, by the way?" and he said that he had a pipe burst, and he just got his power back today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in Houston, Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Houston, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember going to Dallas. It's probably been 10-ish years.
Uh-huh.
And I actually got stuck in Dallas from flying in from Dallas to Little Rock, and because they had snow. And this snow was a very, very light snow. They maybe got an inch or two throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Their airport completely shut down. Nobody knew how to do anything with this snow. I mean,
Yeah.
and here in Arkansas, like, we shut schools down, right, with a couple inches of snow. We do the
Yeah.
same thing, but it's common. We get at least 1 or 2 of these a year, usually.
Usually.
Down there, they don't. What is it, like one every 10+ years that they get?
Yeah, it's something to talk about whenever they get snow in Dallas.
Absolutely, it's kind of crazy. And we've gotten well over a foot here in Central Arkansas, so that's got to be, if not record breaking, close to record breaking.
I think it's the most I've ever seen by far.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I mean, I've seen ice, but never this much snow.
We do get some bad ice storms here, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a foot of snow in a week, that's crazy uncommon for here. All right, so should we get started? What's tip number 1?
Tip number 1, just to touch on what we did before, if you have not already, make sure that your pipes are insulated, especially if you have a crawl space. Is that a thing if you have a slab? I mean, I guess if they're like on external walls.
Right.
Maybe.
So in a slab, more than likely they're going to come up from the ground underneath the slab. So
Okay.
if they bust, like it's going to be a lot, and that's got to be really cold in the house itself.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume.
Yeah.
So if it's a slab, it's not a big deal unless they are coming up in external walls or you have stuff in the attic, which is going to be your deal. So yeah, external walls, crawl space, attics is where you need to be concerned with it.
Can I say though, you said that hot water heaters are commonly in an attic. I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe it's just because I've been in so many just 1-story houses, but ours is in sort of in the garage. Most of the time that I've seen, it's been in some sort of closet, either in the garage or in the hallway or something like that.
It depends on, I guess, the year built, because they're, I guess, at some date range, they're pretty common in like a hallway closet part of that.
Yeah.
I've seen them in like there's actually like little closets on the outside where there's a door on the outside of the house, and you open the door and there's the water heater there. Yeah. And then they kind of started putting them in the attic to save space. That's kind of common. And then of course, in the garage is, I guess, where they're going now. Most of the new builds that I've seen now, they're all in a little closet in the garage.
Yeah. Where's yours?
In the attic is common. Ours is in the garage. In a closet in the garage. Yep.
I know of a couple people. My cousin recently built, say about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and a guy that works at Axiom just recently upgraded to tankless.
Yep.
Which is a thing. I don't know. I mean, that could be something we talk about in an episode too, because there are definitely pros and cons both ways. It seems
there
like
definitely are, and I'll tell you what. Like, one of the house that I'm working on now is flipping. It's got a tankless hot water heater.
Oh,
which is pretty cool. So it's ran by gas. It has to have a specific gas line ran to it. to heat
Mm-hmm.
everything up. And
Yeah.
it's in the utility room. So there's your washer dryer and your tankless water heater. I'd say it probably takes a little bit longer for that hot water to get to the rest of the pipes than a normal hot water heater, just because
Yeah.
it's not hot already
Right. Yeah.
for some reason. I don't, it could just be that house, honestly. I don't have that much knowledge about them either.
Yeah.
But other than that, like once it gets hot, I mean, it stays hot for forever because it just keeps cycling through that hot water heater.
Yeah.
The tankless part of it.
What was? I just saw something fly into the frame in the background. I saw her tail for a second.
That there was some kind of toy, or it could have been her. I don't know. There's really no telling. We're playing tug of war here.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
It looked like you were petting her, but maybe it's forcefully, and maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell. You're trying to keep her out.
No, she has. So here's the toy. She has
Oh,
the
there
other
it is.
end
Okay.
usually, and if I ever get a hold of it without her, then I can throw it and
Yeah,
catch it.
this is off topic, but one of my favorite things is, I mean, I'm a fan of comedy. I like movies. There are certain things like awkward moments and things like
I was gonna
that.
say the Water Boy, one of your favorite things.
Well, I do. I like the Water Boy.
Is not what that's not what you were going for.
No, that's okay. We can talk about that at some other point. Maybe we'll talk about the Water Boy on our hot water heater episode.
Okay.
Just slate that. I don't have to write that down.
We're gonna take notes.
Yep. Water Boy. So anyway, one of my favorite things in like TV or comedy and stuff like that is a sound that happens off screen. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, I'll go get this," and they disappear, and then you hear a loud crash.
Yeah.
And I'm okay, like it's one of my favorite things.
Nice.
So now I'm just getting to use my imagination with all the rustling and shuffling I hear in the background.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I mean I'm giving a hard time. It's not loud at all. Like I can barely hear it.
Well, it's loud on this end.
Oh.
Just to assume it's loud on your end. Okay. Yeah, so hot waters heaters are in the attic. So this tankless, and I don't know, that's another thing we can do. I don't really know how to prepare a tankless hot water heater for winter.
Yeah, that's those are the questions that are popping up in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Because just me thinking out loud, it still has a water line coming in to the tankless hot water heater, and then it's got a line feeding the rest of the house.
Yeah.
So I would assume that it would be basically the same thing. Like you would still need to drip hot water to have those lines still be moving water and not staying still. But of course, it's also plugged in, so that might use a whole lot of electricity with it just constantly running.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anybody listening, if you know more, let us know. And
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Email us at dontknockoutthatwall@gmail.com.
There it is.
Or you can visit us at Facebook if you feel so inclined.
Facebook. Don't knock out that wall. Okay.
There it goes again.
I see it again.
Oh, by the way, I know you probably already saw the last video that we did. I figured out that I could change the view from speaker to gallery. So when I send you the video, it will be us side by side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
So I don't know if that helps you now, since I didn't do it before, but now I know how to do it.
Sure. I'll roll with it. I don't care.
So the next thing that I have on the list goes along with the insulation. And one thing I had to do, I had to make sure, at the advice of my mother-in-law, I had to make sure that my outdoor spigots were covered,
Yes.
and that they were unhooked from any hoses.
Yes.
So I went out to do that. I had to get some hot water to get and a pipe wrench to get the hose off, but I got it off, and then I wrapped it in towel and a Kroger bag and duct tape.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Yes. So again, with like the water hose itself, it's just, I mean, it's a thin hose that doesn't have really any insulation in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that freezes, it'll back up into the water faucet itself. Same thing if a garden hose isn't attached to it, it'll freeze up in there, and that's on the outside wall. So normally, you've got what, brick wall, vinyl, something behind there, and all that will have to be taken out at some point if all that freezes and busts. So yes, that is important.
Mm-hmm.
All your garden hoses completely detached from your water faucets, and the water faucets wrapped. They have those. You can get them at most home improvement stores. Little insulated things.
Yeah.
That go over them.
Much easier to install than towels and a Kroger bag and duct tape, and they look
better. Yeah, because it's got a little circular rubber thing that goes over the spigot itself, and you just pull the hole. It's a big thing of styrofoam that goes over the spigot and pulls tight to it. So
I always wondered what they were when I, just see them on the side of houses. I'm like, what are they hiding under there?
Mm-hmm. A water faucet.
Yeah, now I know.
Hopefully not a frozen water faucet.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah.
I guess if it's so cold to freeze the faucet inside of whatever that is, the little apparatus, then you have bigger problems. Probably an ice age.
I would assume so. I've never.
Or if you're in Canada,
they may have something completely different with their building codes to where they have extra insulation already inside the walls. I don't know how that works.
I feel like we're going to need to have a special segment each episode now. Like, let's talk to a Canadian.
It's completely different way up there. So yeah, I could roll with that.
Yeah. I guess they'll have to do their section of the show in French and English.
They would have to have a couple of different languages. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that, sprinkler systems as well need to be unplugged and drained.
Unplugged and drained.
I don't know if that was on your list as well, but
no, I don't have one of those. So
while we're going with your garden hose unhooked.
Mm-hmm. How hard is it to drain a sprinkler system?
I don't know. I don't know. I would assume you can unhook it and somehow the lowest grade level sprinkler. I don't know if that. I really don't know.
We're gonna have to Google that one, folks.
It's gonna have to be Googled. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking. I don't see anything on how to drain them.
Yeah.
But definitely unhook them. So there you go. There's your tip.
The point is that there should not be water in it because as we know, water freezes.
Exactly. And once it freezes, it's going to expand, and whatever pipe that water is in can't handle it, and it's just going to bust.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to thaw
Busted.
out, and then when water goes through there, it's going to go crazy. It's not going to
Yeah.
go where it's supposed to go.
I guess at least in that instance, we're talking about a sprinkler, so it's not going to ruin your house,
It's not going to ruin your house. You're going to have to
but it's
dig
going to,
up a little bit, and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, refit some piping on there, but that's about it. True.
I have one thing to add to my list here that I'm going to ask you about, but I'm going to work my way down the list first.
Okay.
Okay, next thing on the list is, so this is specific to this particular moment in time, because here in Arkansas, and especially in the state of Texas, because of the demands of power, they weren't ready for it. And so now they're asking people to do certain things to lower the load so that the power grids can handle the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things is to run your heater at a lower temperature. And some people are like, well, do you want me to freeze instead? Because I have hot, I can't, I got kids, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But I guess the thing is that it takes more energy to heat a house than it does to cool a house. And so if you're wearing a sweater like me, you should be fine. We have the thermostat set during the day now at 65, and then we turn it down to 63 when we go to bed.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, ours is. I have to double check. I think it's around 65 as well.
Yeah.
Because we've definitely turned ours down, and I mean, yeah, we've got a layer on socks and a sweater, but it's not bad. And luckily, we have a fireplace, so it puts out a little heat
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
can get in front of. Yeah, so that especially if it's not well insulated, we talked about this earlier, like insulate everything, make sure your doors and windows are caulked and there's no gaps, no crazy air blowing in. You've got plenty of insulation in your attic. It's going to help. It's going to help not run that heater, your main unit, 24/7
Mm-hmm.
when it gets way too cold. Because I agree, like these houses aren't built for this kind of cold, especially for a long period of time. So
I get where people come from too, when they're concerned about younger children. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with that right now. It's just the two of us. But I mean, we've already done some things, and fortunately, that the house is good enough to where it holds in the temperature. It doesn't get too cold already. We did replace those windows, which I think has helped a lot. Granted, this is the first time I've been in the house when it's been 0 degrees outside, but especially in this room right now, it's pretty toasty.
yeah, I completely agree. There's a big change with new windows. I mean, it's just they do a lot more. And if you think about it, your windows and your doors, I mean, your window, there's nothing but a pane of glass. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no barrier, like your exterior walls, you've got your exterior board, you've got insulation, and then you've got your sheetrock on the other side of it. You've got plenty of barriers to help go against that, and your windows you don't.
Yeah.
So a good window will make a huge difference in just an opening in your house.
I think I have personal experience to draw from in this situation, because Ashley and I were talking about the houses that we lived in when we were kids too, because especially when I was like in high school and junior high school, we lived in a house that was older,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically had single pane windows, no
Mm-hmm.
central heat and air, and so I learned how to bundle up, but man, that place was so cold.
Yeah.
And so I feel for people. I understand,
Oh,
what they're going through.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot. Now, luckily, these rollouts that they're doing to shut off electricity, they're only using them for like max an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an hour where your heater's not working. Now, hopefully, in a well insulated house, an hour is not going to do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I can't imagine it decreasing more than 5 degrees in your house, which the phenomenon, have you ever noticed that like a degree or two in your house is not directly proportional to a degree or two outside? Like, you ever gone into somebody's house where their thermostat's on like 75 and it's just, you can't take off all enough clothes?
Yeah.
It's so hot, everybody's sweating. But
Yeah.
then now, right? Your thermostat's setting to 65. That's a 10-degree difference, and you're bundled up.
That is really, that's a good point. I've never really understood that.
I mean, think about it. Like, you go to a friend's house, like on a normal day, not talking about what we're talking about now, but on a normal day, like, well, what do you set your thermostat to? And they're like 68. Like, man, it's cold in your house.
I know. 68 outside is fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, you have a window of like 55 to 75, which,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the humidity and what temperatures you were at, could feel good to you.
Yeah.
But you change that thermostat just a couple degrees, you're like, man, this dude's crazy.
I've had those thoughts too, because Ashley likes to turn, and even before the winter, she likes to make it a little bit colder at night, just to sleep better, because she
Yeah.
runs hot,
Yep.
And it was funny because I remember first she was like, let's turn it, like, I think this was the summer, she was like, let's turn it down to 67. And I was like, okay. And then
Like
a
your
few weeks
AC
go by.
all the time.
Yeah, and a few weeks go by, and she's like, well, let's turn it down to 66. And I was like, well, I don't know. It's just a degree difference. And suddenly I'm like, hold on, let's really think about this.
How hot are you right now?
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that is crazy.
um what was talking about lower temperature? I was trying to think
Oh,
of
so yeah. So
something.
you're talking about the rollouts of all the electricity, and actually, in the summertime, they do the same thing. They do the blackout rollouts
Mm-hmm.
where they cut down electricity in the heat of the day. Um, in some states, that's actually pretty common. I've got a friend in, I think she's in Arizona, and in the middle of the summer, like, it's really common for them to shut down power in the, what, 2 to 5, 2 to 6 range for a couple of hours for people,
Oh,
just to save on energy. So,
yeah.
I mean, they get into the hundreds. I mean, if it gets here over 100 degrees for days at a time, we haven't seen that in a while. So I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
people don't really recognize that it happens, but they do the same thing on extreme heat too.
Hmm. I mean, it would make sense. Yeah, if you want to save on the power demand, on the stress of the grid and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, people don't really. I mean, this is the first time probably in my life that I've thought about a power grid. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, there are so many older homes and so many homes that are not insulated for, you know, sub freezing temperatures around here. So their heater is going literally 20 plus hours a day.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
And
true.
you have neighborhoods full of that happening. It's going to put a lot of strain on the grid.
Yeah.
So it's rough. Yeah.
Well, we're making it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um. Oh, another thing. So Ashley was doing research about things we can do And one of the things was to also make sure that there's not a bunch of ice on your gas meter. I didn't. That's one of the things I didn't know, but I immediately went out to inspect it after that. Fortunately, it's near the side of the house, pretty close to the side, so there weren't a whole lot of icicles on it or anything, and um, the snow wasn't high enough to cover it. So we were good. But that was something I didn't know. People don't think, like, meters, especially. I mean, it mentioned the water meter too, but I know for a fact that one's secure. I mean, the plate, I've already had to mess with it once or twice. So, I mean, the cover's there, it's secure.
Yeah.
No, but the gas meter is above ground. And it's one of those things too you don't think about unless somebody brings it up. Oh, hey, your gas meter's over there. You should go check it out.
Yeah.
Um, so it said something too about checking your vents, but I don't really have a whole lot of vents as far as like for. I mean, I have gas and it powers. I mean, it heats the house, and
Mhm.
of course, we have a gas stove. But as far as like vents, I don't know that we have any other vents in the house besides that. What there, I know about the vents that vent the crawl space the underneath
Yeah.
the house,
Yeah.
but like up top there aren't really any
Right.
aside
And
from.
that's going to be, I guess, depending on where your actual furnace is. So there's the
Yeah,
outside unit. It's always going to be outside, but the actual furnace, sometimes it's in the crawl space. And if
yeah,
that's where it is, then all your vents are going to be in the floor. Or
okay,
if your
yeah.
furnace is in the attic, then it's called coming through the ceiling.
Well, I guess it. I did look at the roof. All of the vents and things up there
Mm-hmm.
were clear of the snow, even though we did have a lot of snow. So maybe that's what they were talking about.
It could be like the little Orly birds on your roof. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
that they don't get completely covered.
Yeah.
On the outside, another thing is to make sure that your gutters are clean before all of this.
Oh yeah.
Because if you get a lot of snow, that's going to be a lot of snow on your roof.
Mm-hmm.
That when that melts, it's got to go somewhere. And if all your gutters are clogged up from fall leaves or whatever, that's just going to cause a bigger mess, right? It's just going to
Yeah.
have a whole lot of water and a whole lot of snow just sitting up there that doesn't need to be.
I actually cleaned my gutters this summer, probably like on the hottest day of the year
Well,
in
that's
2020.
I feel like that's what you need to do. You've got to go outside and do things on the hottest and the coldest days of the year.
I mean, how else are you going to appreciate what you got?
Exactly.
How's Matt? Oh, well, he died of heat stroke doing what he loved.
Yep.
Cleaning gutters.
Cleaning gutters. Poor guy. But wait till it snows this year.
Yeah.
It's that melted snow is going to run straight down on him. It's going to be good.
So insulating pipes, outdoor spouts, sprinkler system, uh, running the heater at a low temperature, keeping your ice off the gas meter. We talked about weather stripping the door, which I am so glad that I did. I did that like a week and a half ago because we already knew that there was some cold air that was coming through around the back door.
Yeah.
And so in fact, I figured it out. Like the old weather strip, I kind of yanked on it and it just came out, and there was like a little groove that you just slide the new stuff in and just
Yeah.
shove it in there. Boom.
Yep.
Sealed
Done
up.
and done.
Yeah.
And now there's no air coming through.
No air. And yeah, it does wonders for sure.
I mean, when you have single digit air coming through your exterior, you got a problem.
Mm-hmm. It's biting.
Yes.
Just like, you feel the
Back to our
draft?
first episode. That's why Storm Door is good.
Hey,
Mm.
bringing it back around.
Yep. For sure, for sure. Okay, so you mentioned doing a rag over your faucets and also covering up your gas meter. Um, Having a blanket or something over your water meter as well. So
Oh
more than
yeah.
likely, your water meter is going to be it. It could be at the house. More than likely, it's going to be closer to the street.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've heard tips to where you can put like a blanket or something inside. So there's that metal manhole cover, right, that
Mm-hmm.
you take off, and then there's your water meter, or you can shut the water off to your complete house.
Yeah.
You can put like a comforter under there, or,
Oh.
towels or something like that to help insulate that area. So water coming in from the street or from the street to your house is now insulated.
Hmm. I hadn't thought about that.
I wouldn't have
I've
thought
only
about that either, but
yeah.
this is why we do this. This is why we're here.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Anybody
Um,
hearing this, like, there should be zero pipes bursting in your houses from now on.
yeah, we're here to fix the way you look at life for
Mhm.
sure. And so if there's anything that's missed, it's on you.
Ouch. But yes.
Okay, so the thing that I wrote down that I added for today
Mhm.
was removing excess layers of snow from certain things. So, one of the things that Ashley noticed today, she did all the research. So, shout out to my wife.
Nice.
Uh, she basically, this is how it works. It's usually how it works for dinner anyway. She finds the dinner that she thinks would be a good idea, and then she tells me to make it, and I make it. So that's how that works.
And
I
it
am
turns
the
out amazing, right?
I'm the muscle, she's the brains. So anyway, she did the research today, and she was looking at different levels of your icicles hanging off, and apparently, if you have very large, very long icicles hanging off the roof of your house, you could have a problem. You could have an ice dam, which could lead to a roof leak, basically.
Ooh.
Didn't know that, but I mean, we've all seen various levels
Yep.
of, and so I went outside and started removing. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of really long ones, but I just knocked them off, and you can actually see because the way it's kind of like you basically have a glacier on top of your house now, right?
Yep.
So the bottom layer is going to melt and refreeze over and over again. So
Mhm.
and that's why the icicles form,
Mhm.
science. And so if you knock those icicles away, you're going to see that layer of ice. Um, and so my question for you, or what your opinion is, and somebody asked me this, I think it was Ashley's mom or somebody, should you remove or try to get the ice or the snow off your roof, or does it matter? Because it seems like people just leave it there, and I think it's okay. But I don't know what's your experience. Do you know?
I would hope that it being there doesn't cause any issues.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can think of that would be an issue is because it's just so heavy
Mm-hmm.
that it makes your roof collapse. And I don't know how heavy that means. I feel like that's going to be really heavy. It's going to be a lot of snow, right?
Yeah.
Um, I would think it'd be more dangerous for you to get up on the roof to try to get it off of there than to just let it build up.
Yeah.
Because depending on the pitch of your roof, it's only going to get so high,
Right.
I would think.
Yeah. Well, that brings into question as well the pitch of your roof. If you have a roof that doesn't have a pitch, if you have a flat roof, that could be an issue.
That would, yeah, completely. Because even if I mean, a flat roof isn't technically completely flat, it still has some kind of angle to it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough to really do anything with snow until it completely melts down.
Yeah.
So a flat roof would probably be the only reason, and this is kind of thinking of it in my head, it'd be the only reason for you to go up there and actually try to sweep it off, shovel it off, whatever.
Yeah. Now we learn from experience, folks. And my mother-in-law ran into something. She has a small, well, had now. It's in the past at this point, but up until today, she had a small apparatus that was covering her front porch, basically, so that she could get into her front door without getting rained on. She lives in a small manufactured home, like way out in West Little Rock, like way out in the sticks.
Okay.
And so this thing is designed to keep the rain off you, right? But it's
Right.
not really designed to keep the snow off you.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what we did at one point was we put some new plastic, basically like the plastic roofing that you can buy at Home Depot. It's like the polycarbonate sheets. Yeah. So we bought some of those and fastened it to it, because until then it has like a canvas top, so it's basically like just aluminum with a canvas top. It just really looks nice more than it does anything. So we took that canvas off and put those polycarbonate sheets, and then she put a tarp over that, which I didn't think she needed, but she did. So she put a tarp over that.
Yeah.
So cut to 2 days ago when we got almost a full foot of snow. And so this morning it collapsed.
Ugh.
So that's one reason why I brought up that question. That's something you want to look into, the structural integrity of some things that you have. It may not be the roof to your house, but if you have something like that, you need to look into it, because if you have an abnormal spot of weather where you almost get a foot of snow, it is heavy, and it will bring stuff down if you're not careful.
Yes, it is heavy, and especially if it like keeps freezing. I mean, ice is heavy as well, and
she had to have her neighbor come and dig her out today.
Yeah,
we talked to her last night. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we talked to her last night, and she sounded really chipper for somebody who was trapped in her house.
I mean,
she has really great neighbors.
Is it not a back door?
Well, yeah, if in emergency, I think she could have gotten out. The back door leads to another porch that it's not very stable. It's kind of weird. It's a small back porch, and then it has like a ramp. There's no steps. And so you might hurt yourself.
Was that good to like ski on then?
Yeah, I mean, if she was, wanting to practice her downhill skiing.
Yeah, okay. She had like some kind of sled or something like that. She could use it.
Yeah, I'm just picturing my mother-in-law in full, like she got a toboggan and a snowsuit, and she's like Kevin McAllister. She's just like teetering on the top.
Back doors open.
Yeah.
Well, at least she's bundled up in that scenario.
Yeah. So yeah, be careful around snow. It can be dangerous. You might, if you stand too close to an icicle, it might knock your eye out. So be careful over there too.
So let me ask back to that icicle. The thing is that, if you have icicles all around your house, but one area in particular has longer icicles than everything else, is that what you should be aware of? Or is it your house is having longer icicles than every other house in the neighborhood?
That's a good question. I would say, I think maybe both, actually. Just from what I read, it's a warning sign if you have icicles that are, maybe not necessarily long, because it's just over time they will grow long, just like like in a cave.
Yeah.
But if they're like thick, jagged, monster teeth, that look, heavy, and
you've got some extra stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, that's all I have for winter. This is for this special episode. What do you think? Do you have
Ooh, I've
anything?
got one more small thing. So
Hmm.
I guess going back, this is both interior. Um, we don't really have them much, but they have those heat pumps. Is that more of a northern
Mm,
thing?
yeah, that's funny that you asked that because I was wondering if I had one. But go ahead.
Um, I think most of us down here, because it doesn't get that cold, we just have the natural gas heat, and that's it.
Okay.
I think the heat pumps are more of a northern thing,
Hmm.
and they produce more heat. If in this area it does get that cold on your thermostat, there should be, where the cool off or heat is, there also should be an emergency setting. And if you have that, that's where your heat pump comes in. And anytime you have really cold winters like this, that's when you switch it over to emergency, especially in this area. Now up north, again, this is where we can get a Canadian in here, and we can really talk about the cold,
Yeah,
right? We honestly don't know cold like they know cold, so there's that
they got friggin' moose up there.
all over. They have signs on their highways that says "Beware of the moose."
Where have you been? Where have you
Did I
been?
tell you? Oh, I don't know if I told you this. So we went to the only place we've gone in Canada is um shoot, right out of Calgary. It was Banff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Our Ashley's family went there too. Brought us back some Canadian socks.
Amazing place. Highly recommended.
Yeah,
We went in the winter, and coming back, funny story that you should say that, the moose thing.
yeah,
We drive, of course, we had the first flight out of Calgary that morning. So
yeah.
we're up at like 4 o'clock in the morning driving to the airport, right? And it had snowed the night before, and it was snowing when we left. And so I'm here in a rental car, um, knowing that it's not great for the snow for off-roading or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going slow. Like I'm the only one on the highway. This blizzard basically is in front of me, and we're driving around, and I'm seeing these signs like beware of the moose, beware of wildlife on the interstate, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I can't see 10 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I'm telling you the story, but I get pulled over by a cop on the highway because I was driving too slow.
Really?
True story. He calls me over and he's like, "Man, are you okay? Like you're driving pretty slow." I'm like, "Man, I'm not from up here. This is a rental car. I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
trying to see the road." And he looks at it and he's like, "Yeah, your tires aren't good. They're not made for this." And he starts like spouting off, "You need certain degree weather tires, which I'd never heard of." Like,
This is not my car.
yeah, exactly. Like you need tires that are rated 40 below Celsius. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I've never no.
I don't use Celsius. You know, it would
So
have been great if he started spouting that off and then he went back to his car and brought you some tires and just put them on for you. There you go. Be careful out there, eh?
he told me to be careful because if I lose my balance and drive off into the ditch, then I'm toast.
Yeah.
That was almost literally what he said. And I was like, all right, thanks. And he's like, okay, yep, you're on your way. So that did not make me feel better. But yeah, I had to drive in a blizzard in Canada with signs saying beware of the moose.
I'm thinking of the movie Titanic right now. You know how when the Titanic, they got a little too overzealous and they started going too fast and they couldn't see the iceberg before they hit it because they were
Wait,
going so fast.
are you about to spoil the ending? I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, well, that's not the ending. I'm just
Okay. I'm just joking.
there's more to it than that.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, there is an iceberg that makes appearance in the movie, a cameo, a quick cameo.
Anyway, continue.
Um, Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking of the Titanic and how they can't see the iceberg until it's too late.
Hmm.
That's what I'm thinking of in my head when I'm seeing all these. It's a blizzard, and I'm seeing all these signs for watch out for moose.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you
like
can
they're
watch
like
out for
moose
a moose,
birds.
but if a moose is in front of you, neither one of you are going to get out of the way quick enough. Yeah. So anyway, we get deer around here. Like we can't really dodge deer, but
Yeah.
they're only 100 and something pounds max.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much a moose weighs, but those things are huge.
I think it's close to a ton.
Really?
Yes. Or maybe a half a ton, but like hundreds.
A male can get up to 1,500 pounds.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So not quite a ton,
Not quite a ton, but it
but
will
that's
do
pretty close.
damage. It'll do damage to a rent-a-car.
Oh, me. I don't know. When you got your rental car there, you should ask for the moose-proof car.
Probably should have.
Just drive a tank from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, tanks are expensive to rent, though.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
You got to get tread insurance and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I have never been to Canada. I would love to go. I've been to Mexico just briefly. I was in Mexico long enough to realize, no, that's not even true. I didn't know I had gone into Mexico until we came out. Because I was in third grade and I was in my own little world. We lived in Tucson at the time. My dad took us to Mexico. We didn't want to stay in Mexico, apparently. I didn't even realize that we were in Mexico, and then we were back on stateside. Like, oh yeah, we just went to Mexico for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. This is back in the day when you could just, cross the border and no one said anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my parents have been to Vancouver, British Columbia, at least once. They've been a couple of times, but I know they went when I was a kid without me because I wasn't there. I was, back in school. And they're like, "Oh, remember that time when we went to British Columbia? Wasn't that fun?"
Oh.
No. Oh, you weren't with us? No, I wasn't. I'm glad you remember.
Obviously, it was that special.
Yeah. I guess in their defense, I was with them everywhere else they went, so they just assumed that I was there for that, but I missed it.
Right? Why not? That's fun. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to contribute to this.
Yeah, I just had a short list there, but I think I've learned a lot just from these past couple of days.
I agree. I think the main thing is insulation, so your furnace doesn't run all the time, and make sure your water pipe, make sure water doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, once they freeze, you really don't know it. Like if you're a couple of days under freezing temperatures and it's frozen and nothing really happens, like you don't know it until it thaws out and then water's everywhere. And
I remember the short anecdote that I was going to tell you because I got a call night before last from my neighbor across the street. She said, "I think a pipe burst. There's water in the floor in my kitchen here coming from my dishwasher. Are you like?" She called to see if I was awake because I'm basically the youngest person that lives near her.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll come and check it out for you." She was concerned. She lives by herself.
Good.
So I got all bundled up. Got my mask and I go across the street, and so it wasn't a burst pipe, but there was water coming out of her dishwasher, and it was coming from the drain. So basically, we just had just had to soak up all the. I mean, this is near freezing water. It was so cold, but I had to soak it all up using towels, and then clean up. Helped her out. But that was kind of strange, especially since she said that she doesn't use the dishwasher. But it started, and some backflow came from the drain, and so I don't know. I don't know. It was strange. But fortunately, she didn't have her pipes burst because I guess her neighbor had like the day before, and so.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really common. And when city pipes burst, I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
the worst. Did you hear about that? Like downtown
Mm-mm.
Little Rock, they had a big water main that froze and busted and flooded like some apart, like the first floor, which was the parking deck of some apartment downtown.
Whoa.
Pretty bad. Yeah,
Yeah, we're in it, people.
it's rough. Okay, cool.
Well, I'll end by saying I'm thankful for everything that I have and for the warmth, and I'm thankful that if you are listening, if there's anyone out there that has tuned into the show, we appreciate you. You
Yes.
can send us questions if you have anything you're wondering about for home improvement and DIY stuff. Hit us up at dontknockoutthatwall at gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page. And, I think I told you this. I was looking into websites, but maybe we don't need a website yet until much later.
I feel like a website is, yeah, maybe a little later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get about, a couple hundred people sending us stuff, and then we'll have to start posting pictures. I don't know.
Yes, I love
People
it.
want to see what we look like, I guess.
All right. Well, if you're done, I'm done.
Well,
That's right.
I am done. Actually, I've reached the end of the list. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And as we say every time, please don't knock out that wall.
Please don't knock out that wall.
Don't do it.
I love it.
All right, man.
Don't knock out that wall! Okay. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Love you.
He gets me with that every time.